Welcome everyone to episode 22 of Pro Player Plays PGA Tour 2K21. And you might be asking yourself on this tee, what hole am I looking at? I built this hole during a live stream that I did. It was kind of the first one I tried, and I had a bunch of fun doing it. So I think my plan here going forward is this is actually hole number 10, and I think that's going to be my plan for holes 10, 11, and 12, is to do those on a live stream. So if you want to follow me and watch one of these live streams where I get these holes done, make sure you do so. Make sure you subscribe, and yeah, I'll be posting in the forums and wherever I can to let you guys know that I'm streaming. So yeah, that was this is hole number 10. It's a little par 4 that I say a little par 4. It's a 470-yard par 4 where basically your tee shot, if it gets over into here, you've got a good angle into the green. It's a pretty wide fairway. It's almost 40 yards wide right here, but the better angle you can get yourself, the more you push your luck trying to get it close to this water, the better angle you're going to have into this green that slopes right to left. And I haven't finished the green either, so this is all still a work in progress, and I'm going to do all the progress on this hole and holes 11 and 12 on a live stream. So hopefully I'll see you guys there. Let's turn our attention now over to the task at hand today, which is going to be hole number 13. And we finished hole 18 last episode, which is right along the coastline here. As you can see, it goes out this way, and it's got this waste bunker that goes along the left side here. And so I thought it would be a very cool idea to give 13 that coastal feel while not being right up against the ocean. And it's going to be along this line here, and I'm probably only going to plant a few trees over into here, as I think that this hole will connect really well with hole 18, and we're going to try to maintain this feel of a pretty open and kind of an oceanfront hole. So I've laid down a couple of bunkers just to give myself placeholders. These are likely going to change. Definitely the shape of them will change. I'll be putting some of the waste bunker feel to it, but I just wanted to get the central idea for the hole completed before I started placing any surfaces or getting anything done. So basically the plan with this hole is to make these two bunkers, especially this bunker and this bunker right here. I wanted those two bunkers from the tee box to basically look like they're right on top of each other. And right now, as you can see, it doesn't look like there's much room in between them, but then you take the helicopter cam and you look down and you see there's almost 40 yards between that bunker and this bunker. So you definitely can take on this bunker and try and cover it. It's only 271. It's more of just a visual hazard, especially in this game where you're carrying driver 290 up into here. You can carry this bunker no problem, and it's not going to be in your way. And this bunker, you're likely not going to reach it, especially because I want this ball to be kicking down over to this way. The thing I want is the closer you get to this side over here, the better of an angle. I'm going to put some hazards along a green site up here that I haven't fully decided what this green is going to look like, but essentially there's going to be some hazards that go all along this left side, and then the fairway is going to come in over onto this side. So the more you can get it up into this area, the better angle you're going to have in towards this green. It's not too complex a design, but it's enough to make a pretty long hole, because this hole is, what, 476 yards? Yeah, this is a long hole. So the fairway's going to be pretty wide, the green's going to be pretty large, but we still want to give that strategic aspect for a hole that's this long. We don't want it to just be a really long hole where we just have the fairway be a certain width and that's it. You know, we want there to be some interest, some strategy going into it, as well as maybe some visual deception, especially with these two bunkers right here. What we're going to do now is I'm going to go in there and I'm going to set some surfaces down. I'm going to place the green, I'm going to get the fairway all set up, and then I'm probably going to put in some of the bunker surfaces as well. So without any further ado, let's get into it. surfaces have been laid down here at the 13th hole, and I'm pretty happy with where we're at on this hole, but I'm going to go over a couple things. I did end up making a couple changes. The first change being this first bunker right here. It was a little bit too far up here, so it was about 271 to carry it from the tee. So from right here, so there's only about 40 yards, and I just decided that was a bit too tight of a tee shot, especially for a 476-yard par 4. So I moved this back to about 248, so there is tons of room where you can land this tee ball over the bunker. But if you come back here to this tee box here, let me get away all these things. If you go over back to the tee box, it doesn't look like there's any room, and that's kind of what I was hoping for, was that visual deception of the right side not being a good place to hit it. You have almost to the center of those two bunkers where you can actually land this tee shot, and you're still in the fairway with a shot at the green. So that was one thing I liked, and then I also liked that I think this hole presents a couple of different options off the tee depending on where the pin is. So if you've got a pin on this left side, you've got this pin right here and you've got this pin over here, where you're not really planning on using these slopes all that much because it's just a little bit too much of an ask for it to roll all the way down there. You would use this slope for this back pin, I suppose, but you definitely wouldn't want to sacrifice the angle of going into this green by being over here, because you've got to go over those two bunkers, as you can see, especially this bunker right here. This is the bunker that's really blocking that second shot, and if you're on this left side of the fairway, it's really tough to get an angle towards those pins, so it's way better to be on this right side. But if you lay up to this side going here, you've got a really narrow angle to this pin and to this pin because everything on this green slopes this way. So it's going to be really hard to use A, this slope, and then B, this slope to get it close to either of these two pins, where you've got a much better angle coming back up the hill from this side of the fairway. You've just got more area where the green isn't sloping to the left, sloping away from your sloping away from the target rather. And this slope becomes a lot more usable because you've got so much more of it to use from this left side. So I'm really happy with how the strategy of this hole is playing, and I really like this green complex. I really like this funky little dip over here. I think it could make for some really interesting short game shots, and it just doesn't allow you to always use this right side. You have to be intentionally trying to use it, because what you could do, if this was all the way over, you could just aim it to this right side and it's always going to end up over here, no matter the distance that you hit it. But with this little thing, it makes you think twice about trying to use this slope, because what happens if you do hit it this perfectly far? It's going to roll here and it's going to get down into the fairway here, and if you're going to that, this is pin number 3 over here, you have almost an impossible chip shot to get this thing close. And I want to make players second guess themselves when they're trying to use this right slope, even though it can be very beneficial using the slope and coming down, and it's going to end up right in here and give yourself a really good birdie look. So as you can see here, I've had to move this green over a bit, and this green just keeps getting scooted back and back and back. So we'll see what happens with this hole when we come to it. But I really felt like I needed all of this width here off the tee to make it feel like it's an actual hole, feel like it's hole in its own right. It's not just kind of squeezed in there. And I may end up moving it. This is kind of up for interpretation at the moment, is this tee box area. But definitely from here on forward, everything is looking pretty much the way that I want it, except for this right side, because I might put some trees here. I might not actually put anything there. I haven't really decided quite on what I'm going to do with this right section, because I could do some waste bunkers, but it also could be a good place to kind of make the marker for where sort of the beachfront coastal holes are, and where it starts to go back inland and looks a lot more like the 9th hole over here, where you've got trees surrounding both sides of it. So it could be a really good spot to have the tree line coming all the way down over here, and it kind of separates the coastal holes from the inland holes. And I think that's what I'm going to do, but I've left it open for now. We're going to get in there and we're going to start planting though, because I really want to see what this hole is going to look like once we get some trees around it and once we get it framed up a little bit better. And one thing that I might do, which is a little bit forward thinking, but I'm just so confident on what I want this 17th hole to be, that I might actually place the tree line rather over on this side of the hole, because it's really an optical illusion right now, and it's difficult to get a frame of reference off this tee box because there's nothing in the background. You can't see anything all the way until the generated trees way out in the distance. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to plant that backside of 17 as well, and part of me wants to get this little waste bunker. I want to get that waist bunker popping up over the fairway because I think that could help frame the hole a little bit better as well. It kind of feels like it's just kind of hanging on the edge, nothing really behind it, and I think it's messing with kind of where your eyes are drawn to because there's nothing really to compare it to in the background. It's really difficult to gauge the distance off the tee. I want people to be able to know kind of where this end of the fairway is, and maybe having this waist bunker raised up a little bit might help with that. Let's get in there and let's try and get some of these reference points, some of these tree lines and some of these bushes placed so that we have a better idea of how this hole actually looks and how it's going to feel once we're out on the course. Is it going to look really tight? Is it going to look a lot easier because we put in this background, all of these background trees? That remains to be seen. So yeah, let's just get in there and let's start planting some tree lines so we can get a better idea of how this hole is going to look. This hole right here is a hole that's going to be so good once everything is completed, but for right now, it's kind of going to look unfinished, especially for a couple of reasons. The first reason is 17 is not going to be done for a while. That's going to be the last hole I do, I think. I'm trying to save this hole for the last hole that I designed because it's going to be such a beautiful hole. It's going to be a great conclusion to this course, and I'm really excited for this short little par 3 down to the water. So for one, I don't quite know where these trees are going to go. I just wanted to put placeholders in to make this hole look a little bit more enclosed in because that's going to be more of the finishing look. But the other thing is when you look up here, you can see that I've got a green planned right for this little spot right here. And I just want to show you guys something because I've got a plan for this hole. You can kind of see what the idea is. I've made this little plateau here, but check out this sight line from the 16th green, looking down the 13th fairway all the way down to the 18th green, and you can see the clubhouse, and honestly, you can see all the way out to the 2nd green if you look far enough out there. Look at this sight line. I can't believe how good this is turning out. This wasn't something that I planned. I kind of wanted 16 to overlook a bunch of stuff, but man, this sightline looks so good, and you're going to be able to see the 17th down here, and then this is going to be kind of where this a little sneak preview. This is going to be kind of where the fairway ends. You're going to be able to see the 13th green all the way down to there. You're going to be able to see the 17th green, which is going to be built up and looking a lot better. I think that this has turned out so well. I'm so excited to get to these holes. But our job isn't done here on the 13th hole, because we need to make this hole match everything on this coastline here. We've got a lot of planting to do yet, but I just wanted to check in the middle of that planting and show you some of these sightlines that we've got planned coming up. I think this is going to be such a fantastic finish to this course. 16 coming up, getting this beautiful view, 17 par 3 down the hill, and then the 18th closer. I'm really excited. Yeah, what we're going to do right now, though, is we are going to finish the planting up here on 13, and it's going to be a lot more of this coastal planting. The other thing that isn't finished is this 12th green, and I've got it planned out. I've kind of got an area set out where I'm going to have it. This is just about all that I've got right here. It's going to be a big green. I mean, this par 3 is 240 yards, so the green's going to go in here, and I think that's going to help complete the look over on this side of the hole as well. But we don't have that done yet, so it's just going to be a little incomplete, so we're just going to have to accept that. All we can really do is focus on the planting on this hole in particular. So with that being said, let's get in there and let's put some of these spots of planting down, and let's get this hole basically done, so that once we get these other holes done, this hole is really going to make a lot of sense, and it's really going to pop as well. So I'm really excited. Let's get in there and let's get planting. There you have it, everybody. We finished hole number 13, and I am really happy with the way that this hole's turned out. There are a couple areas that I haven't finished quite yet, and I'm definitely going to go back and complete them once I finish some of the other holes. One area, of course, being this 12th hole, which I think is going to be an awesome hole. I think you can kind of see where this green is kind of it's setting up to be, and I think it's going to come out really nicely. But there's some of this little area to the right. When you're sitting on this tee box, it looks a little empty. That's just because it's going to be a green over there. So no worries there. That will definitely be done in due time. Let's go ahead and play hole number 13 here. Let's just get one playthrough done, and I'm going to play it to that first pin, which is that front left pin. So like I said, this right side is technically going to be a better angle because you won't have to deal with that bunker at all, and you'll have a little bit more green to work with. So I'm going to try and fit it up this right side, and you can take it over that bunker a lot more than what it looks off the tee. So I'm aiming kind of right here, and it's pretty good. Let's see how this ends up. Just into the first cut, but that's not too bad. We still have the good angle. We have a lot of green to work with. So let's just try and get this one See, I hit a slow there, so this is going to end up in that bunker. And yeah, that is pretty penalizing, but it's actually not that bad of a shot from left. That's one of the deceptive parts of this hole as well, is because the fairway goes up this right side, it looks like this right, missing it right is going to be the preferred spot. But I don't think anything could be further from the truth. I think if you're over here, you have such a difficult shot, except maybe to this pin. This would be just about the only pin that you could really get to from right of the green. So I think left is actually better, even though you're down in the rough or the bunker, which I think is a good, it's a good design twist. It's kind of deceptive, and that's part of what we were going for here. And there you have it. Well, if I could make the putt. Another area that we need to work on is this 16th green, but as I said, this area is going to be complete once I finish this hole up. So kind of the backdrop to this hole looks a little wonky right now, but that's just because there's nothing back there. It's just all left kind of open because that's where a hole is going to go. And that's kind of the tricky part with some of these holes that are right next to each other, is you know you're going to finish them in the future, but you don't quite know how this is going to look. I think it's going to look awesome. I think it's going to look really, really nice once we get all those trees planted in the background and some of the waste bunker extended up along this hole right here. Those two areas will be complete. And then of course, hole number 17, that's just going to add a whole nother layer of completion to this 13th hole. And I can't wait for that to be finished up, but that's going to do it for today, guys. Let me know what you think of hole number 13. If there's anything you'd add or you'd change, I'd love to hear it. And make sure you come and check out one of my designing streams where I'm going to tackle hole number 10, hole number 11, which is going to be a par 5 along here. And then, of course, I'm going to finish it off with hole number 12, which I think you can already imagine how that hole is going to look. So I'm really excited to get into that. But that's going to be it for today, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.